I'm Batman. Oh my god, who the hell cares?
I've talked about lost music media on this channel before, but with me kind of talking about movies and comic book stuff, I thought why not take a look into some lost media from one of my favorite comic book characters, that being Batman. He has some interesting lost media from movies to comics to shows that I've found that are pretty interesting, that I would really like to see or hear, but for the most part, we're never gonna see it ever because, well, a lot of it's scrapped, and some of it may not even exist if we're being honest here, but let's get it started with this honorable mention, though, because even though this is Batman Lost Media, this doesn't come from a Batman show. It's for Harley Quinn, the animated series, as it was announced that in the upcoming third season, there was going to be a scene where Batman and Catwoman were, you know, doing the dirty, and Batman was going to, go down on Catwoman. And, you know, it's an adult show, so I guess there was really no surprise there. I mean, the show's not meant for kids, so people weren't necessarily freaked out by it. It's not like they were going to do this on that new Batman animated series that's coming out or anything else. This is a TV, mature, adult-rated show that no kid should be watching, and yet Warner Brothers, DC swooped in and said,
"It's definitely a no for me, dog."
And when asked why, they said, well, you know, the merch sales would just go down. And I said, you know, you made a really violent PG-13 Batman movie that's on the verge of being R-rated, and yet you sold the toy merch fine there. But with Harley Quinn, the animated series, you're not trying to sell merch for that to kids because it's not a kid's show. Kids wouldn't or shouldn't be seeing it anyway, so what's the big deal? And then they finish it off with saying, Batman / Bruce Wayne doesn't do that.
Bullshit!
I don't know about you, but Bruce Wayne is supposed to be a bachelor. He's supposed to be, you know, real good with the ladies. And, you know, he probably gets around, probably has a high body count. You mean to tell me that during a lot of those times where he's probably doing the dirty, that he hasn't at least once done that to any other woman? Yeah, I highly doubt that he hasn't. So Warner Brothers just had to kind of swoop in and ruin everything. And this scene was said by the artist that it was there, but we're not sure if it was filmed and recorded or if it was just something that they had planned in the script and it never got out there. And we have seen no photos and no footage has been leaked. So who knows if it'll ever see the light of day again. I highly doubt it. I think my prediction is it was in the script, but it never got filmed or animated or even had voice recordings for it, because I think that Warner Brothers saw it, and before anything even started on it, they're like, we don't want this in here, take this out. So in the end, the only thing we can really probably ever get is the original script, but footage or screenshots of it probably don't exist. Alright, so now let's get to the actual lost Batman content, shall we? So this is a pretty popular one that might not even exist, and that is the Death in the Family comic, but it's the Jason Todd Lives edition, as back then there was a poll for this comic for Death in the Family, and it was, do you want Jason Todd to live or Jason Todd to die? And of course, people didn't like Jason Todd, so they picked for him to, you know, to die, and that's the comic that came out, the very infamous comic. But a lot of people believe that the other comic where Jason Todd lives was created, it's just that DC never put it out because it's not what the fans wanted to see. And there has been no evidence of its existence, so again, we don't even know if this thing's out there to exist. We just know there was a poll, and had that part of the poll won, they were planning on making a version where Jason Todd did live, but that hasn't happened. And you gotta think too, without him dying, we would have never got the famous Red Hood story, so history could very well be changed if Jason Todd didn't die in Death in the Family or was chosen to be killed in Death of the Family. But I guess we'll never know how that turned out. So, update, because I'm kind of fucking dumb. There actually was a partial version of the Jason Todd Lives story that was released by DC. It was the panel toward the end when Batman finds out that Jason Todd is actually alive. So there is partial existence of what the alternate comic would have looked like had fans would have voted for him to live. So I figure I'd just throw that out there and let you know that it was DC that did officially release that, and that is like an official kind of thing that they had out there, just in case. Then we have a scrapped Batman TV show called Batman and New Robin in 1988. This was supposed to, I guess, kind of tailor off those animated cartoons of the late 70s with Adam West, but it was supposed to introduce a new Boy Wonder into the picture. And there's only one thing out from this show that proves its existence or proves that something of it existed, and that was a poster that was leaked by the people who were supposed to be the creators of the show. But I guess something happened. This was supposed to be like a kid-friendly show, because keep in mind, it was supposed to come out a year before Tim Burton's Batman and whatnot, so this is when Batman wasn't still being taken very seriously.
Something's in my ass.
But something must have happened as they pulled the plug on this, and instead the same studio ended up making the BeetleJuice cartoon series in 1989, and that didn't last long. The poster is the only thing. Again, there's no footage, there's no screenshots from the show other than what's on the poster, so it's very intriguing to see what this show would have done, as after that, a couple years later, we would get the darker but still kid-friendly Batman the Animated Series, and it makes you think, if this show had been broadcasted and put out and pretty popular, would Bruce Timm and Paul Dini step in and do the animated series? Or would they have just kind of backed off and not wanted to compete with the other animated series that was out there at the time? It's very interesting when you think about it. Then we have Batman Forever, the Joel Schumacher cut. I feel like with the Snyder cut being a popular thing and even being successful as it was released, people have been clamoring for more director's cuts, like now it's the David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. And even people want to see this, the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever. As the original theatrical version we got wasn't terrible, I guess you can say. I mean, yeah, people say it's a step down from the Burton movies, and I can understand, but it's still enjoyable in its own way, seeing Jim Carrey, Tommy Lee Jones in the movie. But with Schumacher, he still wanted to keep a, I guess you can say, darker feel to it, but kind of like dark in the sense of Tim Burton's first Batman movie, where it still had that silliness to go along with that dark edge. Like, he still wanted to continue off of that, where Val Kilmer's Batman was still depicting himself as like, who am I really? Am I just Batman, or am I Bruce Wayne? Or is there any way I can be both? These have been partially found, some of these clips, as they have been released on deleted scene form. You can find them on YouTube, but they're just kind of awkward because there's no music or anything. It's just kind of dialogue. There's not even sound effects to some of the vehicles or when the doors open and stuff like that, so a lot of it's just kind of like nothing until somebody talks, but they're there. There's some deleted scenes out there that show you what he really wanted to go for, and it seemed like it was going to be an interesting direction, but sadly, now that we have this Batman and Joel Schumacher has passed away, I don't really think, unless Warner Brothers really wanted to try it for some anniversary, like maybe in 2025 for the 30th anniversary of the movie, they wanted to release it and show some love. I don't know, but I really don't think, aside from those couple deleted scenes that we saw, that we're ever going to see the full 2.5-hour movie. Yes, Joel Schumacher planned on it being 2.5 hours long, but it was cut down to barely over 2 hours, and a lot of the scenes were changed too, so yeah, it's intriguing, but other than those clips, I wouldn't get your hopes up about seeing anything else from it. Then this one was interesting. When I was doing my research, I actually didn't know this. I found this out from the research, and that is Batman the Animated Series with Tim Curry voicing the Joker. I think he was a very popular choice back when the animated series was greenlit to be the Joker, because he played the original Pennywise in It. Apparently, what happened was Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, they were very unimpressed with Tim Curry's performance, because I think what Tim Curry ended up saying was he had bronchitis that day.
I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that.
He couldn't really do a whole lot of the, laughs and stuff that Joker was doing. So they just kind of, said, yeah, we'll pick somebody else. And of course, Mark Hamill was chosen. Now, was Mark Hamill a bad option? No, I think when it comes to animated Joker vocals, he's like the definitive one, and he did a good job with it. But Tim Curry would have been interesting to hear, and as far as we know, I put fully lost in a question, because we're not sure if there's clips that exist, but there's also said that he did record the first 3 Joker episodes and they scrapped it for Hamill's, and that it's still out there, but who knows at this point? Nothing's been confirmed, so we either have those clips from the first 3 episodes of where the Joker appears, or we don't. And again, I don't know if this will ever see the light of day. I mean, there could be something where a former employee's like, here's what Tim Curry would have sounded like as the Joker, here's his voice recordings. I don't know, and it's something too that I haven't really heard Tim Curry talk about a whole lot. Maybe he just was upset with the way he was unceremoniously canned or whatever, but it just intrigued me to see that. I'm like, okay, I did not know that. I thought Mark Hamill was just the first option and that was it. But I think too, John Glover also auditioned for the role, or voice role of the Joker. Now, he wouldn't get it, but he would later appear in Batman and Robin as Jason Woodrue. Not that that's anything spectacular, because that movie was god-awful, but he's made appearances in other DC and Marvel products, so he lost out on that, but in the end, he made it big by just continuing to be a part of those worlds later down the line. And lastly, I saved this one for last because it's more recent, and I feel like more people are talking about it, and that is Ben Affleck's The Batman solo movie. That's right, this was supposed to be a Ben Affleck solo film with the same title. Only it was going to be different. Obviously, this was Matt Reeves' depiction, way different. Ben Affleck was actually set to star, produce, write, and direct in this movie altogether. It was supposed to be his project, and they even set up for this at the end of both cuts of the Justice League. If you watch the theatrical cut and the Snyder cut, you'll see Joe Manganiello, who plays Deathstroke, come in, talk to Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor says that Batman killed someone close to Deathstroke. I can't remember who it was. And Deathstroke obviously is now planning his revenge against Batman / Bruce Wayne, because Lex Luthor also found out that Batman is Bruce Wayne. And that was supposed to be the whole Batman movie, was Joe Manganiello's now hunting him down. Bruce Wayne, Batman, has to find a way to protect himself. I think it was technically supposed to just follow up what happened in Batman vs. Superman and Justice League in itself. So it wasn't a prequel, it was more of a continuation there, but this was supposed to strictly just be a Batman movie. And when things kind of fell through with the theatrical cut of the Justice League and Ben Affleck just kind of got fed up, Warner Brothers gave the script to Matt Reeves, who changed it around, he changed the actor, he changed the plot, and we got this movie, which is still pretty good, but now that Ben Affleck has been set to return in The Flash and upcoming other DCEU projects as the character, people are still clamoring to get that Ben Affleck solo movie. Now, I don't doubt that we won't. I think that we can get a solo Ben Affleck movie, but I don't think it'll be this, because it seems like with the DCEU, they're rebooting their universe, but they're not like fully rebooting, they're just kind of turning a different story in to kind of, I guess, fix everything that happened with the original that they were trying to do. So we can very potentially get a solo Ben Affleck Batman movie, but I don't think it'll be like this with him versus Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke. It'll be something or other. It could be a prequel movie, maybe we see how his Robin got killed other than the chase scene we saw in Suicide Squad after Joker and Harley basically murdered Dick Grayson, as it was confirmed by David Ayer that Dick Grayson was the one that was murdered by Jared Leto's Joker as opposed to it being Jason Todd. So there's a lot of interesting things they can do with that Batman, but this story in particular just seems like at this point it was scrapped and it's probably never going to see the light of day, to the dismay of many. So yeah, that was just some lost Batman footage, or just some, I think, not even footage, just media overall, where I think it's intriguing and people have talked about it, some more than others, and we've even got to see glimpses of it, whether it's from a screenshot or a clip or something like that, or maybe it's just been confirmed to exist by a creator of the show or an actor in the show or something, but for the most part, we're never going to see the full product, and if we do, it might come out by the time that we're all dead, and, we won't be around to witness it like everybody else. But yeah, those were just the interesting ones to me. You can tell me in the comments below, what are some lost pieces of Batman media? It can be a movie, it can be a comic or a video game or something that maybe was in the works. Like, I know I wanted to talk about the scrapped Batman the Dark Knight game and the Gotham by Gaslight game that I thought was intriguing, but enough people have talked about that. And of course, I already talked about it on this channel, and that was the scrapped third Joel Schumacher Batman movie, Batman Unchained, that was interesting, at least from what we got in itself, but we never got any clips. It never got greenlit after the failure of Batman and Robin. If you want to see me talk about that, I'll put the card up here so you can go click on that and see what that entailed overall and why it was unceremoniously canceled. That's it for me. Stay safe out there, wear your mask, get vaccinated, and until then I will catch you all in the next one.
There's no escape, Riddler. Where are the bombs?
Not so fast, Batman. Answer my riddle and I shall tell all that you want. Get it wrong and Gotham shall fall.
Damn you, Riddler.
I have cities but no houses. I have mountains but no trees. I have water but no fish. What am I? What are you doing?
No, I'm just... man.
Did you just...